Hello and guten Tag, my name is Max. This is making something different today. Well, it's the lighting. On YouTube you find a whole lot of videos on how to build your own cheap ring lights, but that's not what we're gonna do today. We will build what I call a Trilight. First let's have a look at the lights used for this project and then go over to Fusion360, and since this is a pretty simple build, we'll have an extended look, a tutorial I guess, on how to design something in Fusion360. So what's left to say? Welcome to the Trilight zone. So the lights we're gonna use for this are these. I got these at the local dollar store, but you can use whatever you find. Get something cheap, LED based. So let's have a look what's inside. Some mounting brackets. So, cables, not bad. And the light. Pretty short. If you see the packaging, you think it's a bit bigger. So, these are the lights with an individual switch, an input and an output, so you can daisy chain these lights together. Will become handy. So let's move over to Fusion and design the mount. So here we are in Fusion, but before we can start our design, we first have to measure. So let's have a closer look at the light. So let's see. Okay, 24 millimeters for the width. And how high can we go? 14 millimeters. Okay, perfect. Back to Fusion. This is not going to be the very basic tutorial, but I try to cover the most important steps for you. So the first thing we will do is draw our base shape in 2D and then extrude it to the third dimension. So let's start. We start with the line. In the future I will hit L for this, but you find this here or maybe here. If it's not up there, you can, let's say I want this ellipse. Then you can hit this button and then it's up here in the bar. So let's say line. We choose the top plane, and if you draw a line and then click, then it's a line, as you can see. But if you, let's undo this, if you draw a line, not click, but hit, let's say 25, enter, and then you have a line which is already dimensioned. Now I still can move this line, so if I click this line and choose horizontal, then it will be straight and fully dimensioned, as you can see. So with the next line, again hit L, pull it just anywhere roughly where you think it might end up, and then the next lines. So now we have to dimension this line, so hit escape to stop drawing lines, and then go to dimension. You can do this by right clicking and say sketch dimension, or just hit D, or again go through this menu to dimension, and here it is D. So let's say 30 degrees. Since we will mirror this, this will then be 60 degrees, and 60 degrees times 3 is 180 degrees, which is the sum of the inside angles of a triangle. So next, again D, and dimension this line, and I think I go for 40. So this is our first base shape. Stop the sketch, and then you can extrude it. You can do this by saying E, or I most times just use Q. Push-pull. In this situation it just means the same, so let's click this face and say, yeah, 2.5 and hit enter. And then we have our base, and now we have to design something to clamp our lamp. For this I again click on a face, hit L for line, and now I can draw my lines. As you can see, these are now parallel, which was lucky, but if this is not here, erase this. You can also say parallel, click this one, this one, this one, and this one, and now everything's parallel. Again, D for dimension, and say 2.5 again. Once again D, these two lines, and now our measurements were 24. I think I go for 24.2 for some tolerances in the print. And again, stop sketch, Q to extrude, and again as measured 14 millimeters. Now it's starting to look like something. Now we can slide our lamp in here, but it still does not grab on it, so we will add a lip. Choose this plane, hit L once again. You can see it will snap to some points. If there's a triangle next to it, it means it's the center of a line, but we don't want the center of this line, and we don't want the center of this line, so hit anywhere where it's on the line, but not on the center. Again, you can see here it would be parallel by default. Yeah, I go for this once more. This one is not parallel, so I select this line and say this line, right click, and I can't choose parallel. Sometimes this happens, but then we just click it on this side and it's parallel. Now again, D for dimension, 2.5, and once more D. And since I don't want to change both every time, I don't type 2.5, but I click here, and then it says D10, and if I hit enter, this is 2.5 as this is, and if I change this to 3, this changes accordingly. So back to 2.5. So, and say stop sketch again, hit Q once more, select this plane, this plane, this plane, this plane, and go for 2.5 again. So now it's clamping. I would like to have some fillets on these edges, so you can go for modify, fillet, or just hit F. This one, zoom in a bit, this one, this one, this one, this one. By the way, I missed to say how to navigate. If you once before used Fusion, this should be clear, but for all that don't, if you scroll your scroll wheel, you will zoom. If you push your scroll wheel, you will pan. And if you hold Shift and middle mouse button, then you rotate. So let's go for half of 2.5. You don't have to calculate this on your own, just type 2.5 divided by 2 and hit enter. And now it does the math for you. Now once more a fillet on this edge, and this time 2.5, and enter. So now that we have our basic shape, we can start mirroring this over. So I'll go for create, mirror. Now we have to select our object. We can select a face, a body, a feature, or a complete component. We go for body and select our body. Now select our plane. You can select this one or this one, does not matter. I select this one and say OK. As you can see, here's a line in the middle. This is because there are two separate bodies, and we now have to combine this. Again, S and type comp, and you have combine. You will also find this in the modify dialog. Combine. Select one body, the other body, hit OK, and you have it. So now this is still a pretty big block of plastic, and I would like to have this hollow. We could sketch something on this plane and extrude it to the top and cut it out, but I think I do this with the help of the shell modifier. SolidWorks this would be named box feature. Select this and then select the planes which should be open afterwards. What I mean by this you will soon see. So select this one and then go for 2.5 again. And now you see what I mean with open. If you would type, say, 1, you can see it would also hollow it here out, but we don't want this, so 2.5 is perfect. So now it's almost done. All that's left is we need something to secure it, and I will do this with zip ties. So I choose this plane and hit S and say 3 point rectangle. And now if we hover over, you can see there are some lines that appear that are these lines, the start of this fillet and the end. Look at the top. Okay, sorry for that. Now if you hover over these lines, I would choose the outer one, click once again, click on it, and our zip tie will be 1.5 thick, so I go for 2. And we need this on the other side too, so I need a 3-point rectangle again, but you could also go over this menu, say rectangle, 3-point rectangle, here, and since this wall is only 2.5 millimeter thick, I go for 1 millimeter, I think. Yeah. So now, how thick should this be? My zip tie is 2.5, I believe, so I will go for 3. But as you can see, if I pull this out, it will dimension it this way, but not exactly how long this line is. So if you move back, you can see your cursor changes. Then just click once, pull it out, and then it's perfect. You can now dimension it correctly. So let's go for 3. And we could also do this on this side, but I choose this and this line, right click, and why does it not appear? I'm still in the dimension dialog, but let's do it that way. Say equal, and it is equal. So now I can still move these, and these are not aligned, but we will now change this by another line. This time we want the center point. You can see that it is the center point by this rectangle. Click here once again and hit escape to stop the line dialog. And I want this to be a construction line. Right click, construction, or just hit X. So almost done. Now select this line, right click, perpendicular, and it did not take this point on this line, so I select this line, this point, and right click, coincident. And the same on the other side. I don't know why it does not do that right from the beginning, but okay. So now these are aligned and the zip tie will fit perfectly over it, but still we can slide it this way, and we could just guess, but I like to construct it. So one more line, right click, vertical, click X, and then sketch with it point, and select the center point of this line. Again, the triangle symbolizes this. Select the point, select the line, right click, and midpoint. So now it's fully constrained, and as we mirrored our body last time, we will now mirror the sketch. We could do it again with bodies, but I want to show you that this works with sketches too. So we need a mirror line. So let's do a line here. I like to make this construction again, and then go to the sketch and mirror. Then you will have to select the objects you want to mirror. So select this line, this line, this line, this line, this, this, and this one. And your mirror line, this one. And then you can see it's transferred over here, and say OK. And they say stop sketch. And now again, hit Q for push-pull. Select this, 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 and this, and then pull it down. You could pull it to the exact length or just select all and then hit OK. Now you could do some cosmetics. For example, add a fillet here and here. Hit F, select this line, this line, this line, this line, and go for 2.5. Yeah, and now this part is done. I constructed it that way so I can print it lying on this face. For printing, just right click on the body and say save as STL, or go to make, and here you could use your favorite slicer with custom, and then select your application you want to slice this with and hit OK, and it would place it right into your slicer. I just forgot one last thing. We need a way to mount this, so I will add a big hole in the top here and a small one on the bottom. I do this by hitting this surface, first going for L, line, drawing a line, bottom to top or top to bottom, hitting X for construction, and then hit C for circle. Select the center point, and I think I will go for M5, so I go for 5.3 millimeters, and one more for the head. I believe these are 9 millimeters on my side, so yeah, let's go for 12 for safety. So, and then again, stop sketch and hit Q. And first cut this hole, for example, again through all. Okay, and you can see your sketch again if you hit sketch and then select the last sketch and push the light bulb, and then you can again hit Q and pull this through once more. Now not all the way through, but minus 2.5. And then hide it again, and now we're done. So this can be printed. So let's do this. Here's our 3D printed part and our light. Now just slide this in here like that, and then add a zip tie here. Let me grab one. You might want to use clear zip ties for this, but that's not that critical. So, and secured in place, and that's going nowhere. You have your switch on the inside, and yeah, just add the other 3 lights and we are done. So here it is. As you can see, all 3 corners connected. Yeah, I might cut off the zip ties, but that's it for this one. Here everything's daisy chained, and here is the input. So now we should be able to turn them on. Yep. Yeah, and there it is. Gives a nice light. So how are we gonna mount this? Let's have a look around. What can I yes, I think I will. Yeah, here I have, from my slider project, I have this metal rail left over, and I think that should work. We just need some screws And here are some M5 screws. Let's try to put this together. So, this was a bit fiddly, but good that we added the holes. So it's easy to mount this. And now you can put this onto a pole. Let me grab a small ball head. So like this. And there's a nut for that too. So now just slide that through here. If you can't find this kind of rail, just get an L-shaped rail and drill your holes here. And that's it. Ready to use. So that's it for this pretty easy and inexpensive project. This can be done under 15 bucks depending on where you source your lights. I sourced mine locally, so I can't give you any links to these. But this video was more meant as a Fusion 360 tutorial anyways. Have any questions? Put them down in the comments. While you're there, tickle that like and subscribe button. Happy holidays, happy printing, and see ya!